How is your garden growing this year? This is Memorial Day weekend. Now is a good time to walk through the garden and see how things are doing as we start to move into summer. I want to show you what I'm growing, what's going well, and some mistakes I've made and things that aren't going so well. Let's get into it and see how the garden's doing. My lettuce has been fantastic this year. As you can see right now, it doesn't look so fantastic. The temperatures are heating up, it's starting to bolt, and we're getting to a point that it's going to be getting bitter. So we're kind of to the end of the lettuce, but I had about 2 by 8 feet of lettuce here, 4 different varieties. It was just great. I did a high density planting and did a cut and come again style garden where I'd come out and just cut lettuce as we used it, and when I would cut, it would fill in so fast it didn't seem like we were using hardly any at all. It was nice to have as much lettuce as we could use. Now what's cut out here, a few days ago as it was beginning to bolt, I came out and cut about as much as we could get chopped up and in the fridge for future salads. The rest of this, I'm afraid, is probably going to be going bitter here soon. This week we're going to have temps in the 90s, and these are probably going to bring this to an end. Now, something I could do or could have done to extend this harvest is to put some shade cloth over it, and we still have some pretty good. The romaine lettuce here is looking pretty good. The leaf lettuce here, we might be able to get another cutting off of that. I put arches here for beans, but what was not so smart about that is I didn't consider that the beans grow later than the lettuce. So the beans are getting started. You don't even see the beans back behind here, but there's beans growing down along there. I've got some other beans on the other side of this arch that are a little higher, but these over here especially, I just added on an additional arch here, and so just got these planted as a second planting. So they haven't even started up yet. So while the idea of using the beans as shade is valid because it will provide shade, it just doesn't do it early enough for this lettuce. Now you can see over here on the other side, I do have some onions over here, have some Walla Walla onions. They're doing pretty well. Hopefully the heat we have coming up won't set those back too much. Last year we had a sudden heat wave that just kind of stopped the growth. I'm going to keep watering, kind of keep babying these. Hopefully they'll keep going. Then over here I have some marigolds kind of back in this corner that's not as accessible as the rest, and you can see there some of my beans on the back side here. The marigolds are always a good flower to have in the garden. They help to repel some pests, and they're just kind of a generally good companion in the garden. Speaking of flowers that make good companions, I have my nasturtium, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, but these are edible flowers. We don't really eat them that much, but they also are a really pretty flower that serves as a trap plant for some pest insects. The nasturtium is always an easy one I like to add into the garden. Over here I have my peppers. These were started as seedlings in the greenhouse, moved them out to the garden. I have them all planted in a fairly orderly fashion. I plant from the least heat over here. I have Keystone bell peppers on this end. Then I have a variety called Como de Toro, which is, as I understand, it's kind of it's a chili looking pepper, but it's more of a sweet pepper, good for roasting. So we'll have some of those. I've got 12 jalapeno plants. Love the jalapenos, love to pickle them, love to use them fresh, love to make jelly. So hopefully we'll get good jalapenos there. And then on this end I have my habaneros. I don't have any hotter peppers than these, no ghost peppers or anything like that. To be honest, I like the heat, but not enough to take up space to grow them in the garden. But I love the taste of habaneros. I like the heat of jalapenos, so we're going to be growing those. Behind me here I have my patch of sweet potatoes. Love my sweet potatoes. I did a video on growing sweet potatoes. I grow these every year from slips that I make from my own sweet potatoes from the previous year. Now, one thing I did differently this year, in that video that I posted, I showed how I start the sweet potatoes in water, which is kind of the old way I always remember doing it. But I've seen a lot of people posting lately about starting sweet potatoes in soil. Just kind of lay the sweet potato down in a pan of soil, keep the soil moist, let the slips get started. Once the slips are going pretty well, put them in water to develop the roots, and then you can plant them out. Well, as I watched those videos, I thought, well, what's the point of that? Why not just start them in water? But I gave it a try. I may be an old dog, but I can learn new tricks, and it went great. I love the way, I think by starting them that way, they were able to get more nutrients from the potato. They got nice and big. I put them in water. They took off, started throwing out roots like crazy, and I got them put in the garden. So I'm going to be probably doing it that way in the future. And now here is kind of my crown jewel of the garden this year. This is my garlic, planted late last fall. Plant my garlic after our first frost date, so late October, early November, and it just has done great this spring. We've got nice thick stalks here, and I'm hoping that we'll get good heads of garlic that match those stalks. Now, as these started growing this spring, I did hit them with some all-purpose fertilizer, and then since then I've given them a couple sprinklings of bone meal to feed the roots, and they have just taken off great. This is soft neck garlic. This is not hard neck, so it won't get the scapes that a lot of people like. So I'm not watching for the scapes to tell me when these are ready. Instead, I'm watching for the leaves to die back on these. But they're looking great. I'm looking forward to the garlic harvest this year. Over here I have my carrots. Got a nice carrot patch going. They're growing nicely. I've got more onions over here. These are white sweet Spanish onions. Now, I have a tragic tale about my onions. I posted a video previously about planting onions from starting seed in high density in seed starting trays, and then planting them out to the garden. And I plan to do that this year. But in my new greenhouse, I didn't have any workbenches, so I built myself a workbench, and it was fairly narrow to match the narrow shelves that I had on hand in my garage. Well, I set that up in the greenhouse, put my onion starts and my cabbage starts on top of that. We had a big wind. The sides of that greenhouse, it's just a small, basically a small tunnel house with some fairly small metal supports. And we had a big windstorm that pushed those metal supports into my work shelf and knocked my tray of onion starts off. So those were all lost. So I started over from seed here in the garden. I've got kind of spotty germination throughout here. These over here are growing. Don't know how well you can see on camera, but they got started kind of late. Not sure why the difference in these over here. These were all planted at the same time versus those over there. But the good news is, even though I got some spotty germination, like right here, I don't really have any that got started. I did start a second batch on seed trays, and those are now actually a little past due to get into the garden. So I'm ready to transplant those so I can fill in the space here. You can see I've got my beans over here. Hadn't really mentioned the beans except on the other side of the arch, but those are going fairly well, and I did a second planting along this second arch. So I've got 8 feet of arch here. Behind me is one of the things that's not going so well. Every year I grow beets, and I usually have real good success with them. But this year I had low germination. Now maybe I got a little bit ahead of myself, put these into the garden a little too early. Maybe the soil temperatures had something to do with it. I'm not sure. Maybe I didn't keep them watered as I should. I did soak my seeds before planting them, as you should do with beet seeds to help them to crack open and germinate. But I will probably do a second planting. I'm a little disappointed that I haven't seen better germination from these, but a second planting will let me get an extended season out of them, I think. So that's something I'll have to work on. Over here I have second year bunching onions. I planted these bunching onions last year. Onions, for those who don't know, are a biennial. So the first year you get the onion, and the second year they will bolt and produce seed. Now these are getting to a point, some of these have already, I think I got one right over here that are ready to pull the seed from, have probably started dropping some seed. You might see on the little one there, it's got some little seeds on the outside of that flower head. So I need to harvest some of those seed, but what I don't harvest will just drop back here into the bed and become future onions. So those are onions we use for green onions, and I'm trying to get this to the point of being a continuous garden where I'll have some that's going to seed and some I can harvest at all times. And then a little oregano right here. And then my cabbages. The cabbages are doing great. They're getting a little bug eaten here, and I have started treating those with BT to try to keep up with cabbage moths. That usually helps out a lot. For those who are unfamiliar with BT, it is not a chemical insect killer. It's a bacterial treatment. It is organic. All it is a bacteria that the caterpillars can't digest. So it gets into their digestive tract, expands, and it ends up being the end of the caterpillar. I've got my green cabbage. I've got late flat Dutch over here. I've got some mammoth red cabbage on the other side. There's a couple late flat Dutch cabbages are stuck in with the red ones just because I came up short on my number of red cabbages. So we've got those going. And then one of my disappointments over here. These are my spring planted potatoes. This is kind of a testament that as a gardener, you need to be patient. Here where I live, we normally have a rule of planting potatoes at St. Patrick's Day. This year we had such a nice early warm-up that I thought I could just go ahead and plant the potatoes early. So I planted them the first weekend in March. And well, you see what happened here. After planting them early, we got a hard freeze the week before St. Patrick's Day. So I went through a series of trying to protect these. I laid in heavy mulch with all of the straw that you see, then put a cold frame over top of this to try to keep them warm, and I think that helped some. But I think with the heavy mulch that I put on, with the potatoes that were already buried into the ground, I think it was maybe just a little too far for some of the shoots to make it up through. I would pull the mulch back and I would see some shoots and think, okay, we're good, but then they would just never make it to the surface. Finally, I came along, pulled a lot of that mulch back, and I did see some shoots popping up and thought, okay, we're good. And then they were gone. I think the squirrels made a snack out of those. But when I have gone in here to dig up potatoes and thought about replanting, I found good potatoes in the ground that were putting out roots and new potatoes. So I'm still holding a little bit of hope that those will eventually start to put up shoots. This is my spring planting. I did put out a video about doing a fall planting, and I'll show you in just a minute about what happened with that. Finishing up the tour on the raised beds, we have more beets over here, kind of the same story of the poor germination on the beets, not really sure why, and then more cabbage. And this is, I'm forgetting the name of it offhand, but it's doing pretty well. Got a little bit of bug damage in there, again treating these with the BT to try to fend off the caterpillars, and another planting of onions. Now these are white globe onions over here. Had decent germination on these, but there's a few empty spots. I might just fill those in with some sweet Spanish onions. And then another thing that has been a frustration is I have never had issues with raising cucumbers, but this year I got, again, poor germination on the cucumbers I planted earlier. Here's one survivor. But even those that would germinate and grow just have not really stretched up yet. Maybe as the temperatures heat up, they'll start to stretch out. But I put in, just like with the beans, I put in a second arch over here and have planted additional cucumbers, as well as replanting over on the side where they didn't grow. And the same story on this side, cucumbers on both sides of the arch, and did a replanting over here. Hopefully those will get started. Now I mentioned the fall planting of potatoes, and these are those. So I didn't get all of them to grow, but these have actually sprouted up better than my spring planting. So I'm not unhappy about that. We may not get a huge potato crop this year, but at least we'll have enough, or should have enough, that we can use some and have enough to use for planting later. In addition to these potatoes, I'd asked my wife, should I plant some russet potatoes? And we happened to have a bag of russet potatoes that was starting to sprout. Store-bought potatoes are typically treated to prevent sprouting, but since they were already on their way, I went ahead and planted them, and so we have a very small patch of russet potatoes here. So we'll see how those go. We might not get a lot to use this year out of such a small patch, but at least if we can get some for future seed, that would be good. Other plants I have over here in the in-ground beds, something I'm doing new this year, is okra. I've got two varieties of okra over here and just two small rows of that. And then I have my tomatoes. We don't use a lot of tomatoes at our house, but I love growing them. And I've got my indeterminates in this little bed right here, with the frame over top. For those who are unfamiliar with the difference, indeterminate tomatoes don't stop growing at a certain height. They will just continue growing. I'll prune my indeterminates by cutting out the suckers and train them up as a single vine going up these wires that I have. My determinate tomatoes, which is basically my Roma variety, those I use the cages. They will only get to a certain height, and so I'm going to let them bush out more and basically just prune them for the health of the plant. And as I mentioned, pruning out the suckers, for those who are unfamiliar with what the suckers on a tomato is, we're looking at this part right here. We've got this stem coming out here and this little part of the plant that's coming out at that joint. It's kind of creating another branch. We just pull those off. So we'll get rid of those and train it up on a single stalk going up the wire. Here's another sucker over here. This one's getting kind of big. And I don't have these tied up yet, but now they're getting big enough that I can start to tie them up on the wire. One thing I'm particularly excited about this year, these first 4 tomatoes here are the giant crimson tomatoes that I got from M.I. Gardner. And this is a variety that was grown from 85-year-old seed. Luke at M.I. Gardner was able to germinate that old seed, or at least get 2 to germinate. He was able to grow 1 plant to maturity and get seed from it, and now he's producing that seed. So if nothing else, from a historical perspective, I think it's kind of cool to be able to grow these tomatoes that people haven't grown for decades. He says they have an interesting taste, maybe a little sweeter than typical tomatoes, not quite as acidic, so I'm looking forward to trying those out. A seed packet contains 5 seeds. I had all 5 germinate, but we had a little bit of a cold snap that got one of them in the greenhouse. But otherwise, I'm excited about those. Also growing some Tommy Toe tomatoes. Those are small red ones, and some Hartman's yellow gooseberry tomatoes, small yellow ones. Those are great in salads. And then finally, the squash. I've got my zucchini and yellow summer squash here, and then I've got winter squash over here. I've got spaghetti squash and another variety that escapes me right now, but we've got those growing out here. And our final part is this part that's not used yet. I'm getting ready to put pumpkins in along there. And a final part of the garden that I don't show a lot is our little terrace back here, where I have raspberries on that far end. Those are growing great. I don't remember the specific variety, but they produced fruit in the first year. Now they're already starting to put fruit on last year's canes that hadn't produced before, and they're growing new canes that will produce later this year. So really happy about those. And then I've got my new blackberry bushes that are just getting started on this end. I had trouble getting blackberries started over here, but I got some of these cuttings from my friends Jason and Julie Crakey. You may have seen their channel. If not, you should probably go check that out. They got me these cuttings of thornless blackberries, which I got them in the ground, and they are just starting to take off. So really happy about those. So that's my little tour of the garden this year. Hope you enjoyed walking through the garden with me and checking out what we've got growing. I'd love to hear what you've got going on, so feel free to put a comment below telling me what you're growing that you're particularly excited about, or what are you struggling with this year. Be glad to talk about that in the comments. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you next time.